Welcome to all the classic car enthusiasts, particularly guys that want to make a rollover jig for any classic car. This just happens to be a Mini, but the principle is exactly the same. So this is part two of it. What I've done now is I've selected a piece of box steel. In actual fact, it's rectangular. The reason I've done that is because it's 4x6, and what I've done is turned it on its end, as you can see here. And the reason for that is there's less flexibility in it when the girth is less than the depth of it. If it's on its side, it's more chance of flexing. The other reason I've done that is when I do the other two Minis, as I'm not sure of the condition of the floors, which I think might be fairly bad, they normally are, it's a standard thing with Minis, is having a flat bar there or a box section. I can actually put bolts through it, so I can actually pick up points on the floor from the old one, or putting the new one back in, so it will give me some stability as well. So it means if you use tubular, I think the way to go here is if you're using a tubular through the centre to pivot on, to actually pivot the car on or to rotate it on, that's fine. And then what you have to do then, if you want to put something through the centre to pick up on the floor or the side of the doors, whatever, you have to use some kind of clamp to attach it to. Whereas with this square bar or with this elongated bar, it's easier to, I can weld a nut on it, I can weld a piece of bar to it, whatever, as a pickup point. It's just easier to drill. So that's the situation. So what I'm going to do now is what I want to do is I want to strengthen up these. As you can see with this jig, it was built for an E-Type Jaguar. It was an E-Type Coupe that was on it when I bought it from the guy. And as I say, we've done modifications over the time, but the basics of it is there. It's a particularly good jig because it rotates extremely well. It has bars going front to back which allow you to transport it and it doesn't move. And the fact that it's got two lifting sections on it, one in the front, which is here, as I said before, and then another one here. So you've got plenty of room for manoeuvre. So this is one I really like about it. And I really want to have one set of pivots on one set of rotating arms that will do all the cars. So the idea when this Mini's finished or the other Minis are finished, I can put these things away and then use them for another day, like I have with the XK. With the XK, it actually sits completely on the body and the body's resting on top, rather. So this would be the other way around. So it'll work for everything. So what I've done now is I want to strengthen this up because these are two pieces of box section, and then this piece you can see on the end they have for the main bars, which the E-Type or the XK sit on. So what I've done is I've cut this now to length, and then what I've done is I've actually cut internally inside down this box section, otherwise it won't fit properly. So what I'm going to do is put that in, and I've cut it perfect up against the side, so I'm now going to weld this in place and then strengthen all this up. So on the other side there you can maybe see there's a white line there. Now what I have to do again there is cut down and cut in, so it's like a box section for the next bar to go on. So that would be, if you imagine this is a scrap piece, but it'll give you an idea. You can see how there it's too high and there would be right on, so that's what I have to do. I have to cut it out and then bring it to the back again. So I've set this up. What will happen on the front here is I will use angle iron either side of this with two bolt holes in it, and the idea will be, and then two holes right through this elongated box section, so I can attach it here and I can do the same thing on the back, and then when I don't need it I can take it out and release it by just releasing the bolts, and I can just use the two frames if I need to. But when it's being transported or I need to pick up on a floor or a rear floor pan, this is the perfect situation. So I'll tack weld these in, cut that one out, and I'll bring you back when we've got to the next bit. So catch you in a minute. You can see how rough that is on the edge there. Yeah, so all I've done is just nip the corner off, and then what I'll do is clean it all off with a grinding wheel. So you can imagine getting caught on the edge of that's like a razor blade on the edge there, you can see. Hopefully you can see. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these two up to my drill press in the main garage, and then I'll bore holes through them, and then bring the drill down, and then once this is welded in place I'll bore right through this main support bar, and then I can bolt it all together. Because the problem for me is I've got a 500 or a half kilogram lift on the back. It's my lifting table, so I can't support both sides. Well, I can support it, but I have to support it right in the middle, and rather than do that and get everything out of whack, I'm going to finish off the front, get that tied in, and then I can play with the back and get all the levels and everything correct. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to go up to, I'm going to have a nice cup of tea. So you can see I've got this bar in, the other bar in. I put the angle on, drill the holes through. This was really tough because it's very thick. I think it's about 3 or 4 mil, maybe 5 mil thick. Drilled these holes in it, got the two nuts and bolts in. And what I need to do now is obviously take this apart and beef everything up, go through all the welding, clean it all back, put a couple of little gussets in at the back, and it'll be ready to go, the front one. So I'll get everything cleaned up and possibly even give it a prime or whatever, but just get this sorted out. So I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll show you at the back what I've got to do tomorrow. So this will be the end of bar 3. So I'll just show you the last little bit. So like I said, that's it bolted in on the front. And in my excitement to get it on, I forgot to clean these corners up, but when I take the bar out, I'll round these corners off here and weld it again properly, even better than the way that is now. I can go over it. But you can see it's pretty straight right the way through if I get the right angle. It looks a bit offset, but that's because this hole here is more of a pear shape than it is round. So I'll take it into the middle. You can see it's actually not on the trolley, the half-ton trolley, and there she's sitting. It's pretty level. I can adjust that if I need to, because I can adjust the front and the back. So tomorrow, what I'll do tomorrow is I'll make a bar. This bar has to be cut off here. I'll put some gussets in here. I'll put another bar across and do the same thing at this end. Put another set of gussets in here. And then what I'll do, you can see that I've got some offcuts trapped underneath there at the moment. So I can get down and show you. You can see there's just some offcuts up there at the moment. The idea is I want to be able to use that bottom one, so I don't need the bar right the way through it, so I can still use this system, and I'll build another one that slides into here and does the same thing. You know, as you can see, it's pushing up that parcel shelf because it's very small, that bit in the middle. So I'm going to lift it up now, and as you can see, it turns, no problem at all. So, but I'll just pump this back up, and you can see this. Hopefully you'll see this parcel shelf. I'll just pump this up. I'll try and keep this camera. And as I lift it, there you go. It's taking the weight now. Watch the weight come off this. See that coming off that shelf? In fact, maybe what I can do is put that down. Will that work? I don't know. Perhaps that'll work. Let me have a look. Can't really see that. There, maybe that'll work. So as I pump it up, you should see that. You see it's just lifted off there now. You can see it's pushing that, so you can see how that parcel shelf needs to be supported right the way across. So, okay, so that's it for today. As I said, just try and get this as much into this parcel shelf as you can, but obviously you've got to make it so that you can take them back out rather than weld them all up, which means nothing and bolting it. If you're interested in seeing another version of this, Adam Campion's done one, so, you know, you get some different ideas. With anything, a lot of it's trial and error, but like I said, as long as it's safe and it does the job, but it's so much easier to use a rotisserie compared to crawling underneath the car. I know not everybody has the space to turn this car in a lock-up or whatever, but it really is the way to go if it's possible, for any vehicle that is. The work will be done better, it'll be done quicker, be done neater, because when you're lying on your back and your neck's hurting and your back or your shoulder and you're up and down like a yo-yo, you're gonna kind of skip over things. It's human nature. Anyway, so that's it for today. And as usual, I can come out here. As usual, stay safe, keep the faith, and I'll put up part 3 tomorrow when I do this back piece and show you how I intend to do that. But obviously today I've been away collecting this steel, and you can see, I think actually it's better on that end. You can see exactly how thick that is. It's extremely, I don't know how many mil that is, but I would imagine that's showing. That's got to be 4 or 5 mil, I would think. Anyway, so that's it for today. So catch you tomorrow, part 3. Take care. So here is the back of it now. That's the steel all cut. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to put pot rivets in it. We tried it with self-tappers just to see if they stick up a bit. So what we'll do is we'll take the frame off, clean it all, paint it, and then we'll pot rivet the stainless steel to it. And you can see here, I'll pull this piece out, you can see where the extra web is in there. You can see where the cross piece is, and it fits right in the centre of that. It's actually nice and strong, and it's pretty thick stainless, that. I think it's probably, looking at that, that's got to be a couple of mil, but it's very strong, and with it on there it's fine. So you can see it's all the way up now. We're not sure about the cab yet, because I want to keep it out over this winter, but if it becomes a problem and I need to put it on the ramp and it won't fit, then we might take the cab off it and leave the doors off it, so you just jump in and use it like basically like an open buggy. We'll see how it goes on. But I need to come over and get some stuff, because I want to work on the mini rotisserie and strengthen it up a bit. So I've come over here for some of the parts that I need. So yeah, actually the rent is paid up here until December, and then we'll move out, because if I can't work here, then it's no use to me, and the rent is far too high for any storage. It just isn't worth it. So we'll go from there. So I'll take all this stuff back into November, December. Take the compressor back and everything. It's better under one roof. And what I'm thinking now is maybe we put up a kind of outside shelter, a framed shelter that we can put up, which is a bit like a Nissan hut, you know, kind of rounded like that, which would be good for the snow and everything. And then when we're not needing it, we can take it down. But something pretty strong, obviously. So I'm going to look around on the internet and see what's going. Because if it's collapsible, I don't need planning permission for it. And hopefully we'll get some work done on the road down to the bottom of the garden where the Mini is at the moment. Anyway, so that's it for now. I'll bring you back to this when we get some more work done on it.